Now, you may remember this, but a little while ago, Cass suggested that if there was to be a position switch for the midfielder, if, for example, England had defensive issues, perhaps that was a position Declan Rice could slot into. Well, as a little taste of what you can hear from Declan Rice tomorrow, this is what he had to say on perhaps making that move into the back line.
The best suited way for England playing is a 4, and I really believe the best person to play in a 4, because he's quick as well, is Declan Rice.
talkSPORT's Tony Cascarino suggested recently that you could perhaps fill in defence if that's something the manager wanted you to do. Is that something that you'd relish if you were asked to go into a back 3 or a back 4?
I do hear some bizarre stuff sometimes. That was a bizarre comment.
You heard it from Tony, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Look, if I had to drop back into a centre, a back 3, of course I'd do a job for the team. But my best position's midfield. I don't want to be at the back, because I feel like then I won't be able to show my full qualities that I can do on a football pitch like I do in midfield. If I did have to go to a back 3 for a circumstance, I'll do it with pleasure.
It's bizarre, Cass. That's what he's basically saying, what you said. It doesn't make any sense to him. But
how is that bizarre? Really? No, think about this now, right?
Go on.
I've played quite a number of players in my career that have played midfielder and played centre-half. His biggest attributes are his ability to rob the ball off the opposition, keep the ball, move it, quick, good in the air. It'd make a great centre-half. Right, OK. Now, that's taken... I was complimenting Declan on his ability in both positions, because he's a terrific midfielder.
Yeah.
But he'd also, if needed, you could easily play him at the heart of a back line. And he even admitted at the end there, in a back 3. So he might play in a back 3. Now, he could do that job at a breeze for me, Declan Rice. Because all his qualities are the ones you need to be a great defender in centre-half positions, whether it's a 3 or a 2. And why I was saying that, because if Harry Maguire's not on form, or Eric Dyer's not quite deemed good enough, or whoever else is around as the centre-half, John Stones is injured, he could easily fill in that position.
I mean, we obviously have seen it, haven't we, with defensive midfielders moving into the back line, as most recently, I think, was it Fernandinho for City at times? Fabinho, I think, has he done it for Liverpool?
Fabinho, well, yeah, Liverpool did it. But, I mean, Declan Rice is way better than, as a defender.
But you have the same, you have the principles that you need defensively, certainly, to move into the back line. And you said famously, Paul McGrath, obviously.
Well, he won World Player of the Year, by the way, as a centre-half, and he was playing midfield for Ireland.
Yeah.
He was in the World Player of the Year awards, made the World Player of the Year team as a centre-half, and he played midfield. Paul did both, and my compliment to him, to Declan Rice, would be one of the greatest players I ever played with, or probably the greatest, was Paul McGrath.
Yeah.
And Paul McGrath could do exactly the same things that Declan could do. Terrific in the air, really quick, great at robbing the ball off the opposition. Real simple game. Moved it, passed it. And Paul McGrath, if you're being, in the same bracket of being spoke about as Paul McGrath was, as I'm saying about Declan Rice, you're one hell of a player. That's a huge compliment to him that but people would actually make that debate, that conversation.
And I guess, and it's a massive compliment, the fact that you can see that versatility that he can bring to a team, which I mean, look, I might get it that he's only 23, so he's probably thinking, hang on.
It's not a bizarre comment as in, really? What? So you just, I see wingers go from full-backs to wing-backs to wingers.
But do you think
Antonio, do you remember him, the winger for Man United?
Yeah.
Sorry, the full-back for Man United that played winger for Wigan?
Yes.
He was one hell of a full-back. But he was a winger originally.
Do you think he's thinking more because he, in his role, yes, he's primarily a defensive midfielder, but likes to get forward every now and then, chip in with goals. Is that him maybe thinking, hang on, if you're putting me further back, I'm not going to get those opportunities?
He's not a goal man.
He's not a goal man, but he has chipped in. He's scored this season already.
Yeah,
but as a 23-year-old, is he sort of thinking, hang on, I've got so much to offer going forward in my role than what? Yeah, he's not thinking further down the line just yet. He's thinking about where he is right now.
No, I understand. Look, my biggest compliment to him that I've associated him in the same level as Paul McGrath as a starter. And if you're even close to him, you're one hell of a player in two positions, because that's what McGrath was. And I see Declan Rice being able to do that, honestly, with blinkers on that. He could easily do it. because he's got so much of what you need in that position.
It's West Ham Bournemouth then on Monday night. That's the live football we are bringing you. They come into this off the back of that defeat to Liverpool, but they had their own chances. Obviously, a missed penalty as well in that game. West Ham currently are 14th after results yesterday. Just saw them drop down a place. How do you assess West Ham now that we're seeing, having obviously got off to a pretty dodgy start, winless sort of start? How do you see them right now?
They look a much more settled team. And I think you saw that at Anfield in midweek. Declan Rice, by the way, was brilliant. In midfield. They look
where he wants to be.
No, they look a far more accomplished team, far closer to what David Moyes, I'm sure, was expecting. Some of the recruitments that have come in the summer look more settled. They are definitely a different proposition to play against now. And
just a word on Bournemouth then coming into this game. First defeat for Gary O'Neill. They lost to Southampton in midweek. This is the important time now for Gary O'Neill, how his team and how he even responds to having had that first defeat. Yeah, well, it was going to come. Yeah, of course, but it was 7.
I think it was a surprise.
First loss in 7.
Yeah, and it was a surprise it was Southampton that, who had been on a bad run. Yeah. But it was going to happen. And he's done a hell of a job in a short space of time. It's a terrific game to bounce back. And they'll be excited about playing West Ham and feeling like they can get something out of the game. It's a good contest, that one. It really is. Yeah.